No, I just put with Abby.
Oh, really?
Is it a different document than what you said? Did you already send it?
Are we good?
What's that? No,
Put the spikes on top.
I prefer them on top. I'm not really sure if you don't.
Alright, we good? Roll out for 3, 1 jurisdiction, roll out specifically this round, how the ball should be sound, all theories about norm setting, which after their jurisdiction in the second round. Second, offense, roll out, what is in offensive theory must be textual, the primary also not offensive, you can't vote for it. Third, pedagogy, roll out, pedagogy, good basis, which means it should come before theories, since they're not going to norm setting, theories guaranteed pedagogy providing. Fourth, scope, roll out methodology, makes a true claims that the world does have to operate within a rule, which applies to the motivated action side of the basis, while theory only operates inside of it, more valuable fits inside, tricky critiques that are wrong society, the role by the attempts to resolve it. Otherwise, it's not about never resolved and influence theory, meaning it's not effective theory. And must spec is bad, one is infinitely aggressive, there's always more impact or less impacts A, means your interest is an arbitrary limit system. It means you don't solve the B space. Theory tools as opposed to a check on abuse instead of right everything you the question in approximately 15 seconds should be fine. This also puts you in a double on either one, the opportunity is so minimal, so you would have asked the first leadership the opportunity. So you show 15 seconds to say small time movement B causes theory prolific around all substance education, which outweighs theory can always be available within only 2 months of substance. It means even if fairness might be crowded all education, which makes yours awful because otherwise without education, which is the equivalent activity and that. The Middle East is a living beast with oil fuels its flame. There's no metaphor, oil ancient enemy, subterranean nation, the directs world history and international relation of what we call petropolitics, objectivity, the ancient dimension of oil, provides the necessary tools to understand how much political undercurrents occupy the subterranean plateaus upon which the narratives of oil and history of narratives and history of nations place play out. That's Next 21. This part is what next between Tiller and Emerson machine petropolitics connection with the Middle East, petropolitical undercurrents, function narrative loops, interconnected consistency and narratives of political information activity, much resolution components, allows like accomplish the answers of oil and voluntary cannot be radically technically grasped as a machine without consideration of the other reasons parts where you was the ancient enemy responsible for our common civilization. Is a thing like biohazards and predator hunting, organic agents, viruses, mutating various organic phyla. Petroleum was formed as a two-learned entity under unimaginable pressure, keeping the atoms of oxygen between the China and absolute isolation. Petroleum's autonomous life emerges was began recognition emerged under such condition. Petroleum possesses tendency for massive intoxication of the negative fields. Of course, according to capital, petroleum is able to gather the surge of the water currents part of the process of eradication as a whole, moving of the Earth's body towards the utter vibration of the Earth's whole end. The death is the else between the bottom and from the keyboard type on the planet wherever the world is assumed. Our lives are the point of death. We become petrozombies roaming the earth on an uninterrupted search from somewhere in the region of the same life that we've already lost in chapter 12. 10 minutes leads up in the ongoing regressing century one of the misrated dollars, and drive over the excessive drive towards eventual collapse of burning fossil fuels, drives to the half of the year with that fire person using ship lives and build on teams of the world out internally, try towards not to be never served with death mercy, because we are already dead plants of bodies, the petrochemicals, and supplies the pure knowledge, and the fuel measure fossil through our lives, you can use it. Giving energy is on the flesh from the ancient future divided death from geologically find was new source that rises up as petroleum through apples from the far region where the fuel is in and rivers which are one that is never existing continues now from molecular transformation, geophysical recycling, a precursor to block, objective narratives as energy, grass, methane, oils, and singular inorganic entity. Our body, bush of the long really affected little publics can most along these strings of law, just as the same way the trains was joined American furniture under brought to life by these strings woven from the hydrogen core juice. Culture relies on the axis of capital creates blind super zombie like their cartoon, the zombie metaphor for consumers are relying on petroleum zombies for taking metropolities. These zombies beyond the for us that those not thought we understand we want to be more the horrors with the flesh of humans or words out. We will be returning years of mental hydrocarbon extrusion to become the term petrochemicals war machine that industry conversations to address the nemesis that is military capitals not the periodic redistribution the same night nemesis of one terror was a war for his soldiers plow mindless skin hills and bulls and oil seems over energy that human needs balance up to death is representing the true part of the consumption of this energy, something that we must be returned to as if because it allows us to live. We must also control how we die. Next turn 2. Consumption of exorbitant energy through the raw materials of how to live or reduce the solution for the exorbitant energy is dependence in the exorbitant energy through the shackles of life. Symbolizes the sort of energy, the only model that the organism intends to use the same model for that is the model that's used for living. In Western foreign policies for the Middle East is not an anomaly. Vast supplies of oil drive the U.S. for total control of the region using war machines and destructive entity. Intervention in war on terror, locating themselves around petroleum is the driving factor of all actions. Next 23. The technical capital source is desertification of the war on terror, conversion on oil, the cartography of oil is an omnipresent entity, or the dynamics of winter events which are in this world which are not a mirror image. In oil, the end of the river certainly in an oil field. The economy of war shall become country very oily, because it's only find oil rules by maintaining kind of constructive process which economical, military, political, weather, emergencies, oil substance, as all continental and geopolitical ground boundary. Thus, I affirm resolve the United States will not provide military aid with authoritarian regimes in the Middle East. I defend implementation, but it's not necessary for the ethical functions. My firm is mean visions. I only care about the ethical orientation of one I see in. Petro politics is decisively the biggest factor in American efforts in the Middle East. U.S. willingly funds authoritarian regimes along sector capital that has access to their oil wells as properly seen. A profound development recognition of oil is driving person going around one for oil. First, brought the American Saudi Arabia government and over its primary oil resources in Iran and international religion in the region to support these goals became no brainer objective policymakers as long as the Americans control the oil parties were mutually content as long as the oil flow and flow to the U.S. companies is all that matter. They continue a realization of abundant oil resources that should led to American support of an existing authoritarian status, but the American government supported reversal policies and practices in order to protect access to the oil resources there, and the world must raise radical openness to open yourself to asset forcing meaningless endeavors to sustain survival economy because you're only open when you can afford to be open in the first place. Radical openness causes the intrusion of xenochemicals by making yourself a target. We've attracted the pathogens with carbon dioxide predators, so now all we're supposed to do is hold ourselves up and implode this next 24. The act of opening to its environment is only possible if the environment is already for the entity within its environment, right? So called openness represents the affordability and survival of the perception, not the act of opening itself. The I am opening can be recapitulated as I have the capacity of very investment, fixing the capacity which can be afforded only cracked, lacerated, and laid open. It is also self-draining and calling break forth and acting openness. Radical openness always brings with it bad participation, contamination, pandemic, war openness, measures radical butchery from within. Without openness, not with it is not the end of more desire to open, is the being open, eventually with the act of opening self to experiencing the chemistry of openness is not possible through opening yourself with it, but it can be affirmed by entrapping yourself with industry you can line with the outside, becoming a lower experience, forced to get right yourself in solid and multiplying volume, tightening boundaries around yourself, sealing yourself up through the success of currently what means an ideal prayer for the radical outside and its forces and competing reason to act on deny that sufficient obligations exist under one framework is the 11. It's not required that the role be ultimate versus utilitarian, so B will take a progressive reason to act, and doing so will act with utility. A can give be a reason to act, knowing the reason to be relevant, including strong reason not to act, and need not intend that the given reason be the only reason.
This is not quite right. Thank you. Okay. Great. Yeah. What does it mean to embrace open, radical openness?
Sure. So Negersani makes the argument that allowing yourself to be open is sort of a false sense of openness. You can only allow yourself to be open when you can afford the ability for other people to come in. A form of radical openness is closing yourself off from that to allow implosion. We've already attracted the xenoparasites that implode the state through things such as intervention. Closing ourselves off allows us the ability to implode.
Closing themselves off?
What?
Is it the Middle East closing themselves off?
No, it's the U.S.
Okay, but we still have other forms of military aid that we give to different authoritarian regimes, right?
What?
We still give military aid to other authoritarian regimes, right?
Sure.
Okay, so why does that
The
not
Middle
include-
East is uniquely key. Negersani makes claims about how the Middle East is entirely centered around oil. Petropolitics
What does it mean to be
defines
closed off?
interaction. What's up?
What does it mean to be closed off?
To not interact with, to not afford yourself to cooperation with them.
Okay, and then that leads to inclusion.
Yes.
That seems consequentialist.
What?
That seems consequentialist.
How?
Doing the act leads to inclusion.
That's a method.
Okay, so the framework is means-based, right?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Embracing radical openness is a methodology.
No. Just means-based in general. Like, what does it mean? Like, I know what the framework says. What does it mean to be means-based? That just means, like, we evaluate the
The role of the
intentions
ballot
the
is just, if you are a methodology that embraces radical openness, you link to the role of the ballot.
So the intention of the affirmative is a good idea.
The affirmative is not talking about intentions.
Wait, so means does not mean intentions?
The argument is just, it is a methodology, it's not consequential. As long as you affirm radical openness or embrace radical openness with, like on the negative, a counter methodology of radical openness, you link to the role of the ballot.
Okay, I want you to concede that it's intent-based.
Yeah.
That's literally what means, but that's okay. Explain the Enoch argument.
Yeah, so just because you may prove a different framework doesn't disprove that there's still an obligation to do it under one framework.
That seems to conflict with your role of ballot. Your role of ballot doesn't seem to prove that we have an obligation about it. It just seems to prove something else.
You have an obligation to embrace radical openness.
Okay, but that doesn't prove the resolution true or false.
I don't think Enoch has to function under truth testing.
Wait, doesn't it rely upon the assumption that
As
you
long as I prove
generate
an obligation under my framework, i.e., as long as I prove the resolution is a form of radical openness, doesn't matter if you win another framework.
You just don't understand how that works. I'll start with that. minute left. 4 off in the case. Case will start on the underview. That's very good. Judges?
Yeah.
First off, topic had easy interpretation. The may not specify a subset of regimes in which they defend the Washington military visa violation. They specify the Middle East secret agenda versus the many regimes such as General Court, which means that you can't expect unified criminals or critical to judge generically and existentially tigers or ferocious, tigers or ferocious, tigers or them to give no social context in general, tigers or ferocious, the meaning is always pragmatic equal. Anything the meaning the rest provides more predictable will with the ideal probability of everyone identifying the same proposition as the best debaters so small as to be aware by the value. Ocean proposition, they can only have an debater should have been the advice. When it's most accurate, if there would be either would be a portion based on resolving key jurisdiction, therefore, but not from the resolution that's independent of the balance. Who do better weighing the content of the resolution also. The interesting links for the role of balance, which means that worse comes to worse, they function the same way. They don't get to go far every time because it's a question of whether the judge can vote on. Also, even if I don't want that judge can independent voter, that doesn't matter. Still, terminally with the EC, they're voting, but they're not actually reading the resolution. 2 seconds, that is like different any permutation 52, the representation data in the economist. If the global democratic procession remains with the index, concludes that the world's population nearly third of authoritarian rule in that. Because when it speaks that the for every criminal, they only have the power only, even if there are some responses to the EC, will always get to show one air from to generic, something close to continue because of course it's not playing. And shall debate that ways, even if you're into specific education, we don't. As in saying, can you give third topical versions on the officer, just create a specific regime, every specific regime or subset of regime, as an invasion of all forms of forward, clarify exchange, clarify exchange, for this reading interpretation over the text interpretation, otherwise there are a lot of them being silly. I mean, specify, I inserted the word, so say, in the interpretation, so don't let that, make that I mean, these are voters, first vote, I'm going to basically back to activity, go over rules, you can't debate who debating the branch, users, give it all of its signals, education, schools, one base, value, education, has that already impact on the debate on T. I point out the arguments, 7 to lesson, I already knew arguments in the winner, connect them, the more the beat, drop the arguments, and I to be specific, keep classes up to back, keep their exchange tricks, so then I go to the secret, true classes to the apples, when they further arguments between the other way to team, negligent, no more is on not more on T. The show would be topical because they're already being said by the after reading basic interest, or just focus on having a long counter, there's always going to be the sequence, because it's not like, after you new dangerous theory, because you do a long counter, or the architect, or philosophy, and hate side, this and that advice, or reading theory, against the division, if you for program, meaning in terms of reasonability, age, and life, reading, shall be by each other, there's also for audience of different secrets, or risk about what the main reason, as you use like also no complications from the EC and no arguments for other world ways. First up, finish consider your unfairness and manic trade on your ability to debate upon debate activities to speak in the other. Have there been incongruence at all to your ability to judge the winner, which means that this huge evaluation segments and scale however you make it easy to independent side that judge will value your arguments out to just debate a reciprocal relationship. They can always just hack for against you second off yes. The nature of law commands are the default functional obedience because we put the secret law of no expectation that is followed. However, a privileged society containing a variety of viewpoints, the only way to maintain the social obedience is by enacting norms of laws that could be judged by all people. Since we cannot evaluate the viewpoint of all individuals and grouping on something evaluate that are actually motivated to cooperate with each other. That's standard because we mutual response for first, including floating as we can battle the liberty of the subject to government's legitimacy unless they accessible to its subjects that they have some reason to operate. It's also the perfect version to do so that there's nothing that justifies subjecting them to that authority. Saying their perfect classes, it can probably get action in a public society. Since they're more fun, they restrict them enough for everybody. They create the war agent. That's what that we're aging to really reason that's why they should why they should go on the reasons they give out the no one theory because those reasons when I choose an agent and they don't have the authority to come military the officers called defense and show workers politicians and everyday Americans with legitimate objection based on economic prosperity and defense in the United States agenda that's lost $18 billions of dollars for America's allies and finance and purchase of U.S. military training and equipment creates jobs and key congressional districts provides corporate welfare for America's defense companies and helps maintain that defense industrial base and provide those capacity of foreign countries to provide influence over their policies and guarantees access to influential institutions and personality in capitalism across the third up is the Good Samaritan paradox and for many gates because the Good Samaritan paradox paraphrasing Manual 6 premise 1 at the atmosphere it ought to be the case that the U.S. Not provide military aid to authoritarian regimes. Premise 2 it ought to be the case that the U.S. not provide military aid to authoritarian regimes if and only if the U.S. provides military aid to authoritarian regimes is because standard logic would necessitate transferring the obligation of predicate under its necessary condition. Thus premise 3 if the aptitude ought to be the case that the U.S. provides military aid to authoritarian regimes this logically follows from if PHQ only if and then does not apply the negative, there's only how to obligated solely as a result of a bad diplomatic currents for is the role about is to remember that the original statement is true, false, but something just by ethical first judges only in the jurisdiction to adopt the two-sided paradigm activity provide the adjudicating authority to reassess the materials goal within the round the either could have these arbitrary as a judge of measure 15. The master provides the judge with the authority vote on the authority vote on the assessment of the activities also the only upset arbitrary elements of the for example, judge believe that the better is the one who best establishes philosophy of the bigger field control just voting in the easy for the night when condition level office when he differs in the sexuality finding shares of finding yes and neither truth and affirm as a true that social obligation about other residents truth of all that was on combination is well that a role to justify third. This is a truth that the paradigm comments which your prominent fostering moral education teaches a bit how to be successful advocates for solutions. Branch 15. To be correct, uniform review the process of warranty as being valuable, the values goes government arise from the process of not the content of the arrangement, you'll have to go to report the process of choosing and choose a very timely decision or really trying to justify whether becoming good by advocates not by rejected paradigm about embracing also highest the easy framework because they say we should try to resolve it to your own existence of like trying to obtain oil, however, just having the discussion or your VS orientation this way, it's not actually going to do anything, it's not going to stop that, but it's not going to stop the bad thing that the material effects that the affirmative talks about, and the only way we can actually do that is through learning how to warn our so we can go out and go out into the real world and talk about the front, which means that the suicide world about hijacks and control the internally to any of their passion in the first place. Also, there is no jurisdiction, there's no kind of education in the same way that in the same you as a judge or a referee doesn't educate in the same way that a referee does not promote physical fitness instead of just constituent of a referee. You as a judge do not promote education instead it's just a side effect of the activity, not something you have to maximize be there all about. Now go to the case debate starting on the Enoch evidence first framework debate is definitely resolvable. They don't provide a justification for their benefit of IU it would be the same say that I read response to that our first response to what it counts as a proper response would be that we have the ability to retrieve very much also that goes because we don't have the ability we don't have the ability to make other ways between this very much also philosophical education we think this is a consistent purpose of all these the reason why people reach frameworks and think that they don't have the word on the resolution second common use of people say that murders that they don't put that murders about every single scenario right some people believe that killing murders or hitting is justified others would be impossible to make a prohibition or anything because you could always imagine a framework or a framework would be good also. No, the long arguments is what they say. Well, they come like before you on their jurisdiction on argument the first evidence functioning cases how because it actually provides a real jurisdiction justification. The evidence is affirmative and negative. That we have to affirm and negate the resolution, which means that it's consistent with your jurisdiction. Just says that it's about the right. However, your evidence is not specific to it, which means that my evidence also always unless it's you say offense. However, the overview on the 2 through 5 arguments is that if I win the evaluation argument that function comes to the prerequisite because the prerequisite to gaining any of the benefits. The alternative is having the ability to debate under that, and you can't even adjudicate who is putting under the role in the first place. They say the role that constrains what is and isn't offense. However, so does my theoretical interpretation. They say pedagogy. However, my interpretation is also key to education in the first place. Mean that's learning also not sitting as a pure practical read less off yours. And it's how they say they say scope for my theory. It's also key to critical thinking because it wants you to think on your reading and come up with quick kind of information. They say it's psychiatry. However, theory is also objectively evaluated. I use you to see whether or not they're offensive interpretation or counter interpretation. Also, the affirmative definitely doesn't regard any policy. They can see the cross-examination that the United States doesn't close themselves off because they still interact with a bunch of different nations that are outside the Middle East.
Are you good? So you make arguments about how it's empirically verified that there's that people stop reading a prioris and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you're not going to go for any a prioris in the 200?
There are. I don't think the good Samaritan paradox is an a priori, but I don't think the good Samaritan paradox is an a priori.
What is it?
What is it?
What is the implication of it, brother?
You should negate.
Okay. So insofar as premise 1 is that it ought to be the case that the U.S. ought not provide military aid. I guess how does that interact with premise 3, which says the opposite?
Sure. So premise 2 says that if it ought to be the case that the U.S. not provide military aid if and only if the United States provides military aid because you defend a shift from the status quo, which means that when you plug the premise 1 and premise 2 into if P is Q and P is Q only if N, that leads to the output, which is premise 3.
Okay, if I read a normative framework and say that we should not take an action because it violates that normative framework, then why is it true that the if condition you put on premise 2 is like logical?
In premise 2, you're talking about the if and only part?
Yeah.
Okay, because the first part's a conditional statement. The argument is that regardless of whether or not you defend a normative theory, the affirmative defends a shift from the status quo. That's the justification before the sentence that this is because standard logic would necessitate transferring the obligation predicate onto its necessary condition. That's just a fancy way of saying that the affirmative defends a shift from the status quo, which means that you say it ought to be the case that the United States not provide military aid. That only makes sense because we currently provide military aid.
That's fine. Let's go to the AC cross-apps argument. On the evaluation argument, what about theory allows us to fairly evaluate?
Well, the argument
why is theory a good check on evaluation?
You should lose. You did something abusive.
Why is that a check on evaluating the truth claims of the AC?
Because if my ability to respond to the AC was viewed because I've won a limits claim, then I do not have the ability to adequately prepare for the affirmative and engage under your role of
But
ballot.
how does that answer things that are objectively true?
I have no idea what that question is.
How does you allow you, I guess, answer the objective capital T truth claims coming out of the AC?
We can't test whether or not they're capital T true because I did not have the ability to engage with the app because I couldn't prep it because there's a permutation of 52 different regimes that you can defend.
Okay, why does bare plural necessitate that you can't spec whatsoever?
Because it's a generic bare plural, which means that insofar as there's nothing that modifies authoritarian regimes, you have to defend all authoritarian regimes, which means that insofar as you just defend the ones in the Middle East, that's not consistent with the interpretation.
Okay, let's go to the continency,
Not common, but yes.
the NC.
Yep.
Explain the offense.
People do not want the affirmative. There are justifiable reasons why people who are tolerant do not want to stop military aid to the Middle East, which means that that's not consistent with the standard of mutual tolerance, which means you should engage.
What is it? Why does my government collapse?
Because it can't guide action and oppose society if people aren't going to listen to it. The only reason people agree to be part of the state in the first place is because they think the state will represent their views, otherwise they have no reason to engage with the state or be a part of it. And obviously you rely on state action to act, and the U.S. put itself off.
Stop at 150.
150 left.
So we're going to be AC, the roll about for theory stuff. Theory. The truth testing debate. Actually, theory, cons, then truth testing, and then the paradox.
Say it one more time.
Yeah, case, roll about for theory. The theory debate. The NC, truth testing, and then the case scenario paradox.
Is there a chapter for 1, 2?
Actually, start with
There we go. You're good.
Alright, so. Did you get it?
Not yet. Yeah. It's like the fifth time this tournament somebody's gonna read my own cards against me. But that's fine,
I don't know what you're talking about.
because I know better than anybody else.
It's good.
I'm good to go.
Alright, okay. Oils the ancient enemy that lubricates modern warfare. Some of these tribal evidence petroleum's everywhere. Close your car key, but we have become petrol zombies. Very active. We become shit by energy consumption. Means the AC controls the electrical framing around us. And the negative evidence. AC controls both the value of life and value of death. But that's our view. Our views are removed from petrol products, ceasing our ability to produce consume energy. That's seen as savage where we've worked out for lives without exorbitant energy. That's just a reconfiguration of our matters. This ongoing despair results in enemies war. The fight for energy is literally fight for survival. Only embracing the world of after rupture petrol products. The world of honors embrace radical openness. It entails closing yourself off and letting the xeno paradox that have been attracted by evolution intervention to implode. They can see the implosion solves petropolitics with the which answers their only argument against the atoms that we do not solve because we still interact. Insofar as we are a negation of petropolitics and closing ourselves off about implosion of these things that implodes all petropolitics. Go to the world out for 3 debate. The argument I went towards the offense over the roll back what is his offensive by Eve. There's nothing to roll about it, there's just like floating in, and there's no reason you should vote for it. The evaluation of first products that on the class on the case cross debate on the theory debate. Also, they say theory constraints, but you cannot read. It's not a question of offense, it's rather what affirmatives you can and cannot read. We say that literally that all arguments are constrained by the role of ballot. Now let's go to the theory shell. I get to weigh the case against the game. First, that all your expertise is the proper method of recognizing the loss used in my decision case where my assumption of probability makes its false not a legitimate method check to be seen. Third, the second is fairness. Anything else but the minutes the app means no tools within 1 error, especially with the reacting 7 minutes each of the negative. Third is truth. They assume condensation needed to find truth, but that's wrong. So there are true things that are true in themselves. For example, the sky is blue regardless of your response to the truth. Then the app makes frame your evaluation of T. Now the role about you can see the role about you can see the role about the offense arguments also. Now the impact terms. First, right about theories and have to close oneself off from the unfair threats of the outside of that closure only attracts situations to become and inflow their minds and their set to stone norms, reproduce the violence of the defensive situation of that is an act of radical evidence that attracts the xenoparasite second passion zombie, reading theories and things with random special zombie rushing towards what happens when you form without thought. You wait about the shells, you wait about that truly the point of theory first when the is no longer used to check abuse, they reproduce the consumers try to further self-exception to the point of death. Let's go on their reasons why I can't wait. On evaluation, first begs the question of this being the right type of truth. The the base premise of theory makes, which means in itself or the wrong assumption. The theory is not the way to evaluate the case. Second, there's no way back on decision doesn't always guarantee you if you want the or it's flat. What matters is that inherently on the right side over semantics are going to roll about for semantics because it constrains often also through right definition. Grammar is Eurocentric and meant to explode non-Western not something those like damage on usually protect on jurisdiction. A point is every people vote for to specify all the time. B point is that there's no such thing as jurisdiction. You can whatever you want. Also they say several definition of my own rule about that only functions under truth testing on their inescapability or on their escapability arguments. There's no link following speech times. Just I mean I can see the authority of fairness. I just don't want to get kicked out of the tournament. Let's go to the NC. You can send the Petrus on the argument as a reason why there's no inherent value in humanity. We are already Petrus zombies on the earth. We're trying to find petrocapitalism insofar as that is true. The only resolving petrocapitalism we find inherent value in humans in the first place. Any first stuff, there's no collapse. The app isn't adopted by everyone. Just these things. So people not wanting it does not matter. Skip the NC. I might go back. Now on the truth testing. You should reject your truth as a terrible model for the debate. First is that the amount of business and yes or no answer when they're close to the definition of the word affirmative goes so listen to many rules you can truth the resolution by from the affirmative back. Second, truth testing excludes all things within the nature of unresolved seems to be the very nature of truth testing exclusions or any reason why rule laws gives a reason you should reject truth. Third is that my affirmative is still for the resolution true as far as I can over that framework that the resolution is true under that framework. They say it hijacks it for material engagement. This is not unique. There's no pedagogical reason why truth testing is just why the judge can vote for it and there's also no reason why learning about it in debate results petropolitics they can't claim office on this only paradox debate. First, the premise 2 is false. We ought not give most regardless of providing generic statement is just about what is or is not ethical. So it is not. There's no if statement after. Also, premise 1 takes out premise 3 insofar as they are both contradictory. Both contradictory.
Can you send me the analytics?
No.
Can I see your computer?
Yeah.
Are there responses to the truth testing in here?
No, it's a separate document.
Yes, he is. So here's how it's going to break down. Truth testing, Good Samaritan paradox, and C, and then the impact turns. Is everybody good? If I win truth testing, I win the round. They only have a few generic arguments against truth testing, and I'm going to eat that back. The reason I win the round if I win truth testing is because they lose the majority of their offense, and they're going to be getting crushed on the Good Samaritan paradox in the NC debate. They definitely don't meet the text of the rule of that. They're not going to have offense or the truth testing. Except the rule of that, which is remember that the original statement true must be substantively justified. Ethic whatever their framework is not substantively or ethically justified. They just make educational claims or make claims about the status quo. What it means to be substantively justified. Ethical framework is to have normative justifications. I.e., the word justification based on certain arguments of ethicality that prove the resolution true in the first place. Their role about is definitely inconsistent with that because it just says that we should focus on radical openness regardless of whether or not the resolution is true or regardless of whether or not it's true or false in the first place. Even if I don't win that argument, even if I don't win the exclusive affirmative, if I win the NC framework is true or win the Good Samaritan paradox, and the function is that you would still negate under truth testing even if they have offense because it just means that I'm winning the debate under truth testing in the first place. No, win my justifications and then I'll be back to arguments in the first piece of branch evidence. That's the jurisdictional claim. Judges only have the jurisdiction to which the truth testing paradigm. No activity will provide the adjudicator the authority to one if they think the activity's goals should be anything that is self-serving and arbitrary. That links to the textuality argument. It indicates that by the experience of finding data and other truth that affirms a true truth that the social obligation to evaluate the truth or falsity of the resolution. They consider the jurisdiction's function is psychostrain on your ability to evaluate the debate in the first place. Even if their rule is better, even if their interpretation of the resolution is better, that doesn't matter because the jurisdiction does not have the judge does not have the jurisdiction, the ability to vote on that in the first place, which means that it's functionally litmus test. Don't contemplate any of their jurisdiction, no impacted jurisdiction claims from the T-shell. A few justifications. The equals that they made a jurisdiction claim in the AC, which means that they obviously don't get to contradict that in the 1 year because that's my strategy, and I don't know what arguments to respond to because they're contradicting themselves and making two different arguments. Arguments based on what arguments they make. They make me one. Instead, the argument was made specifically on this jurisdiction argument, which means that you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that in /4 them. The sequence that they're only arguing why there's no impacted jurisdiction that judge put off non-TFs all the time. But that just indicates that they were bad judges and they were not following the rules of the debate. Insofar as one, the jurisdiction is something that is important, i.e. they are affirmative but not affirming the resolution, or that is constitutive of your role as an adjudicator. That means that I'm definitely going to be winning the debate. Now, I'm not going to the last argument. I'll knock on the earnings for why you should reject it. In their first argument, that is not a yes/no question. However, you can see the textuality and justification, which indicates that yes, it is no question. It's a question of whether or not the resolution be affirmatively negated. You say excludes all critiques. However, it is that it doesn't exclude all critiques as long as you substantively and normatively justify them and they prove the resolution true. You can read a critique, for example, you can read a structural balance framework that proves the affirmatively to good consequences and impacts for minimizing structural oppression. And the point is that there's no implication that you can see that there's no impact to education because the judge is a referee. And adjudicator, not necessarily somebody has to maximize education in the base, which means that they're definitely going to be losing that. Argument, and it wasn't impacted in the last page, which means that you shouldn't allow doing the two-hour extrapolations or new implications. And now their third argument that the affirmative proves the resolution true. I've already done the work on it. It doesn't prove the resolution true because it relies on several rules of that. Now, go to the Good Samaritan paradox. Extend that affirming engagement of the good Samaritan paradox. That's paraphrasing no matter what six all. Explain the premise. The first premise is that if the average true it ought to be the case that the U.S. that the U.S. ought to provide military to authoritarian regime. That's pretty simple. That is just how affirming works. Now extend the second premise, which was that it ought not be the case that the U.S. it ought to be the case that the U.S. not provide military to authoritarian regimes. If and only if the U.S. If the U.S. provides military to authoritarian regimes. He makes one response. He makes two responses to his first argument. That is regardless of the status quo. However, no, you can see that the affirmative defense. You can see that the affirmative defense is shift from the status quo. Otherwise, it would be otherwise it would not be consistent with standard logic. For example, I would say I cannot say that you ought to take your shoes off after you come in the door if you've already taken your shoes off, because that would be pointless for me to say that because you've already taken your shoes off, which means that it doesn't make sense for you to say that you ought to do something if it is not a change from the status quo, which means that they definitely have to change from the status quo. The next argument is this normative argument. However, A point is that it has no implication. B point is that regardless of a normative framework and regardless of a normative or ethical framework, it's a question of evaluating the text of the resolution. For example, under that normative framework, you would prove the resolution true. However, if I win the good Samaritan paradox, and that indicates that you proving the resolution true inherently leads to the conclusion that we should engage in the first place, which means the premise 3 extended if the affirmative is true, it ought not be the case that the U.S. provides military aid to authoritarian regimes. That follows from a PSQ and PSQ only if and now the only argument they have against this is that a contradiction with the first premise. However, no, it's not a contradiction. It is a logical syllogism that which uses standard logic, i.e. PSQ and PSQ only if and now go to the NC. They really mess up with the NC. They only have one response. They only have one response to the NC framework, which is that there's no inherent value to humanity. However, they mostly misunderstand the framework. I'll explain here the nature of law and moral demands, the nature of laws and moral commands is that demands a default assumption of obedience, because there's no point in making commands. If people are saying that people ought to do something, if they're not going to follow that in the first place, which means that if you say that the United States federal government ought to do something, then that assumes that people will follow what the United States government says. Otherwise, they would have no point. Otherwise, they would have no reason to listen to what the government. Otherwise, they would have no reason to listen to what the government says in the first place, which means that which takes the argument because it shows that there is an inherent value. It shows that even if there is an inherent value to life, it's a question of what the government has to do, and they conceded the offense, which is that there are people who do not want the affirmative, which means that the government doesn't have the jurisdiction to vote on it. The only other way they can win is with these impact terms. However, that assumes they win their role the battle. They can see there's no impact to jurisdiction, which means that there's no impact to education, which means that it doesn't matter. I'll concede that fairness doesn't matter, which means that it doesn't matter. Also, the role of that becomes on a higher layer because the frames are arguments in the first place. And you've also made arguments as to why you don't link, which means that T doesn't link, and either way it comes on a higher layer. 140. The order is going to be the paradox, constancy, act extension, truth testing, and then the image.
Wait, give me one.
Paradox.
No, I got it. Just give me a second.
Oh.
Okay. No.
Anybody not ready? Oh, no, the paradox arguments I'm going to send the argument that premise 2 is false. We not provide military aid, regardless of providing this in the affirmative physicians and status quo. Even if that is true, as far as I have no religious framework, I say that we should not do military aid, regardless of we give it the status quo. Insofar as that is true, the premise 2 is false. It is not an if statement, but rather we should just never do it. The only argument they make is that the app defense shift and status quo. Even if that is true, there is still, even if the affirmative defense is shift, in every single instance, we shouldn't do the app. Let's go to the contingency. They can see that there's no reason why we should care about the nature of laws or humanity. A point is that there's no inherent value in humanity as far as we are all petros zombies, which is conceded from the AC. That there's no reason we should care about other people objecting to the same. B point is that petropolitics controls all nature's laws as far as every interaction with things, with places such as the Middle East. Defined by laws, the nature of laws are only petropolitics, and the AC control. They've also conceded that the affirmative isn't adopted by everyone just the same. So insofar as I say the same agrees with them, it does. I'm only answering the contingency, so I get to waive my roll of the ballot. Let's go to the case. Oils the ancient evil liberties modern warfare. They have conceded the roll about they conceded the oral justification roll about that we should rupture petropolitics. The only way we can do this is through radical openness, is closing ourselves off, allowing these agents to come and employ. They have conceded these songs and they employ laws allows the destruction, the destruction of petropolitics. Insofar as this is true, then it is normally justified. So on the truth testing debate, the only argument debating is my roll of balance. That is not normally justified, but I have normally justified it. They say that I have to prove it. Or it's ridiculous saying that we can only have a framework under truth testing. Insofar as it is normally justified, you've conceded the normative justification that I do get access to my roll of balance. They also conceded my affirmative functions under truth testing. Insofar you can just read that as my roll as a standard. It is just a semantical argument that my role as a normally ethical framework. Truth testing is just your role as an educator. Insofar as my affirmative function under truth testing, I have a normative framework. Then offense under that, then I am proving the resolution true under my framework, which they totally conceded, which gets me out of the truth testing debate. Now I'm going on to the impact terms. They have conceded the warrants for all of the impact terms. They also conceded that I get to weigh case against or this thing. You should justify the truth testing debate before insofar as my standard can function under truth testing. I still get access to my roll of the ballot. The argument of going for the radical openness argument theories and they have to close myself off from the unfair testing the outside, but that closure only attracts the innovation to come and implode that mindset. They're set in stone norms reproduce the violence of offensive states, so voting them down as an act of radical openness and attracts the xenoparasites. So here's how the round breaks down. I took out the NC, which means my normative framework is true. The good Samaritan paradox goes away because they conceded that premise 2 is false. So insofar as that is true, you only have truth testing and my normative justified framework. If truth testing is your way to evaluate the round, but my roll of the ballot is the normative justification, then you can vote them down on theory insofar as I'm the only true ethical theory in the round.